matters related to the implementation of specific natural government policies on natural resources and environmental conservation, including soil and water conservation, and forestry and control of air pollution, noise pollution, other public nuisances, and outdoor advertising, land survey and mapping, boundaries and fencing, electricity and gas reticulations, energy regulation, water management systems in abutable areas, and the water sanitation services. Madam Speaker, I continue to read the committee membership.
Point of information.
Yes, Honorable Ndawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I just want to inform my brother, Honorable Kesini, that we don't have Madam Speaker in the House. We have Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Stand guided, Honorable Kisini.
Thank you very much, my colleague Honorable Ndawa, for that notice. I had not known that we have the Mr. Speaker, and thank you for that. Mr. Speaker, I want to continue with the reading of the report, and I'm on committee membership. Honorable Speaker, the membership of the aforementioned committee is as follows: Honorable Robert Kisini, Honorable Chairman, Honorable Christian Koke, Vice, Honorable Paul Museku, Member, Honorable Mark Mwendo, Honorable Alex Kamito, Honorable Brian Kesila, Honorable Cosmas Kieti Muia, Honorable George Kingori, Honorable Helen Deti, Honorable Jacqueline Ziva, Honorable Jen Nyawira, Honorable Joseph Musau, and Honorable Mike Omutiso, all members of the committee. I still continue on the overview of the bill, and that is page 41. Let me go there. Members, if you have this, you can also open. Overview of the bill. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the bill comprises on the following key areas. 1, the right to clean environment. 2, administration and licensing. 3, waste management. 4, hazardous waste and handling. That is 5, monitoring, inspection, and enforcement. 6, drainage and sewage. 7, air pollution and licensing. And then 8, noise pollution. I continue to 4.4, the report, and that is public participation and advertisement of the bill. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order number 123 provides that the Secretarial Committee to which a bill is committed shall facilitate public participation and shall take into account the views and the recommendations of the public when the committee makes its report to the House. In August 2021, Assembly advertised for this bill and invited public for participation and the submission of memoranda. This is in accordance with Article 174C of the Constitution that provides one of the objects of devolution is to give powers of self-governance to the people and enhance the participation of people in the exercise of the powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them. Further, Article 196(1)(b) provides that a county assembly shall facilitate participation and involvement in the legislative and other businesses of the assembly and its committees. Honorable Speaker, the principle of public participation holds that those who are affected a decision have a right to be involved in the decision-making process. It seeks and facilitates for involvement of those potentially affected by or interested in a decision. Honorable Speaker, the public participation was conducted in all the 40 wards. The advertisement partly read as follows. In the matter of consideration of the County Assembly of Machakos for the Machakos County Environmental Bill 2020, the Machakos Abattoirs Bills 2020, and the Machakos County Senior Citizens Bill. Pursuant to Standing Order number 118 and 119 of the County Assembly of Machakos, the Machakos County Environmental Bill 2020, the Machakos County Abattoirs Bill 2020, and the Machakos County Senior Citizens Bill 2020 were read for the first time on the 27th April 2021 and the 8th June 2021, and further committed to the Assembly's sectoral committees on environment, energy, lands, and natural resources, Committee on Agriculture, and that on culture, tourism, and social welfare, respectively. Pursuant to Article 174C and D and the 196(1) of the Constitution, Section 91(1) and D and the 952 of the County Governments Act, that is 2012, and Standing Order number 121 and 3 of the County Assembly of Machakos, the sectoral committees on environment, energy, lands, and the natural resources, Committee on Agriculture, and that on culture, tourism, and social welfare invites members of the public and stakeholders to submit their recommendations on the above stated bills. Honorable members, I continue to read the report as guided, and I'm on 4.7. Submission from the public. Honorable Speaker, as stated earlier, Standing Order number 123 provides that the sectoral committee to which a bill is committed shall facilitate public participation and shall take into account the views and the recommendations of the public when the committee makes its report to the House. The following were the views submitted by the public from the 8 sub-counties. The public participation was conducted in all 40 wards. 1, Machakos County government should task the Department of Environment in ensuring that before a license of operation is issued to companies within Machakos County, they produce waste management plan. 2, the county government of Machakos to conduct local business persons to manage public toilets at a fee. That is 2.1. The county government of Machakos to contract local businesses persons to collect and dump waste. 3, provide for designated smoking zones. And then number 4, not to allow hawkers and street vendors to sell by the roadside, blocking walkways in towns. 5, allocate an officer to man water bodies to curb water pollution. And number 6, the bill to clearly explain how the street children will be controlled from interfering with the solid waste. Number 7, the definition of waste to include toilet waste. 8, are the river waste. Number 8, are the river water to be protected by having a law against polluting the water. Number 9, inspection of building should follow the law. And then number 10, members, county should partner with CBO dealing with agroforestry to work out systems of providing seedlings. 11, CBOs and NGOs to be allowed to create their seedlings near water. 12, the county government should conduct civic education on environmental management. Number 13, all bins to be secured and the traders who have dug holes near their premises to ensure they are covered and the litter banned. I'm still continuing, members. Number 14, all licenses to be charged by the county government, and the Department of Environment should introduce any other license on an environmental bill. 15, NEMA license should be factored in the bill. The crushers in Kedimani ward are causing air pollution to the residents. NEMA should control where the crushers should be located. Number 16, ensure that bins are emptied on time to avoid littering to the surrounding environment. 18, all charges on sewer to be paid to Machakos. The bill should not introduce any other sewer charges. Machakos and the county government to harmonize their charges on sewer. 19, it was noted that River Athi along the river region is highly polluted and should be protected from Nairobi County industries which dump waste in the river. Number 20, members, broken bottles that are being disposed at River Athi should be recycled. 21, clinical waste should be well managed. Methods of proper disposal to be well outlined in the bill. 22, noise pollution will need to be controlled and the license or approval to be sought for during ceremonies. 23, it was recommended that planting of trees should be a priority in environmental management. Number 24, county government should regulate and enforce garbage collection in the major towns. Number 25, propose specific days for sensitization of the locals in each sub-county on ways of conserving the environment. 26, provide for the issues of open and dangerous pits that are left uncovered, the owners to cover such pits or face charges. 27, designate smoking zones within the markets. Note, a folder is available for submissions from each ward. I now move forward to committee recommendations. That is number 5. Mr. Speaker, after considering the proposals from the members of the public, the memoranda from the Nature Kenya and submissions from the committee, the following were the recommendations for amendments. 1, insert the words such as river valleys and riparian areas, wetlands, soil erosion, land degradation, forest landscape restoration, urban green spaces at the end of clause 3.1, The justification is widen the scope of the bill and also specific on the areas which the framework of the management will cover. Number 2, insert the words and liquid immediately after the solid in clause 3J. The justification is to address liquid waste management is currently an area of environmental concern. 3, insert a new clause, that is 3K, that reads, initiate and support strategies to promote circular economy in waste management. 4, insert a new clause 3.1 that reads, promote sustainable production and consumption by the private sector, government agencies, and the general public. The justification of introducing clause 3K and 3.1 is to embrace sustainable production process that addresses minimizing waste generated and also embraces the circular economy, which is about recycling of waste products. 5, insert the words or with fats, oils, grease, used oil, and hazardous household liquids at the end of clause 49.1. The justification is because the stated liquids have been overlooked in the bill despite them being potential threats to the ecosystem. Number 6, insert a new clause, that is 32 sub 3, that reads, the county government shall license persons operating waste collection centers. This is because private stockholders are currently assisting a lot in environmental cleaning and waste management. It is also an avenue of revenue collection. Number 7, insert the words and other relevant organizations, including civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and the community-based organizations immediately after the words national government in line 1. The justification is because the said entities play a key role in implementing government efforts to conserve and protect environment. Number 8, insert a new clause, that is 85E, that reads 85E. Regulate high noise levels in conservation areas, protected areas, important bird areas, heritage sites, and forests. The justification is that this area hosts wildlife where excessive noise affects how wildlife interact with their habitats. Conclusion. Mr. Speaker, the relationship between humanity and environment is delicate balance. Since the Industrial Revolution, the world's population has increased exponentially, and with the pollution growth, the environment has been profoundly affected. Improving the environment is crucial, not only to the well-being of the planet, but to the health of the billions of people who inhabit it. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution requires every county government to prepare an action plan on conserving the environment through environmental management and the coordination acts, that is in brackets NEMCA. In natural resources management, decentralization is justified on several grounds. It enables local people to identify and prioritize their environmental problems accurately, ensure efficient allocation, and promote greater respect for the decisions made with local inputs such as rules for resource use.
Thank you, Honorable Kisini. I now propose the question that the Machakos County Environmental Management Bill 2020, Machakos County Bills number 9, be read a second time. Honorable members, I now invite you for comments about the bill. Welcome. Honorable Kingori.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we have a very good bill. This bill is good now because you have it's like a money bill, whereby we shall have ways of getting those people who are polluting our areas. And I think it's high time we care about the environment, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Ndawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My name is Judas Ndawa, area MCA Matu. Mr. Speaker, I will start by congratulating the committee and more so the chairperson, the most able chairperson, Honorable Kesini, for coming up with this important bill. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, without this bill, it is very difficult for the management of the affairs of the county, because if one does something which is against the environment, the environment regulation, we may not be able to charge that person in court because we don't have a legislation. Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is going to address the problem, and the inspectorate and the executive officers will be using this bill to ensure that we have sanity within the county. Mr. Speaker, I want to cite an example of an incident which took place last week in Matu, whereby somebody opened the waste is the waste product from his plot to the drainage line, and the environment was so bad. People could not stay, people could not do business in that particular area, but we were forced to let him go because we had no law that we can rely on. But eventually, we used the NEMA law, and the person was taken to court. So, Mr. Speaker, I kindly request the Honorable House to agree that we read the bill for the second time, so that we can be able to go to the final stage of the bill so that it can be operational. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Katumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Justice Katumo, representing persons with disabilities, Machakos County Assembly. The voice. Mr. Speaker, I wish firstly to congratulate the committee and the chair. They have been doing a great job for this county in terms of environmental management. And my belief is that the county will remain directed and guided in terms of how to manage the environment. Going through the bill, as the chair was reading through, I find sections and that are very important in order to bring order and smooth running of environmental management. You should know, honorable members, that without a clean, habitable environment, we have no place that we can live in. And in reverence, I'm looking at what God created. Before he created man, he made sure there is a very friendly, inhabitable environment for him to stay. But what has been happening since that time is the degradation of the environment, air pollution, and other factors that make this world inhabitable. And I would wish to say, as one of the speakers have said, I come from the environment of Mulolongo, the river, and Syokimau, where drainage has been an issue since time immemorial. And that during rain seasons like we are in today, we find that plot owners are letting the raw waste, human waste, into the streets and drainages and making the environment very uncomfortable for our children and others. And therefore, having a law in place, a legislation that we can revert to in terms of trying to bring order into the society, I think is very key. And therefore, I support the recommendation, and especially what the public have been saying. You find the public have been given a lot of recommendation in terms of what we want to see in the bill. And the recommendations are very important. We should work with other stakeholders that are working towards making sure that our environment is clean and is well managed. Therefore, I support those recommendations and this bill so that we may have it enacted into law so that we can have order in our environment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kamulu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will start by congratulating the committee chair and the members of the committee because of the good work which they have done. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill which has come in the right time, and I will start by congratulating the devolution conference in Makueni because the theme was connected on climate issue. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to congratulate the committee because of following the law, because of public participation. That was done very well, and the members of the public contributed and their issues were considered. Mr. Speaker, it is in order that we remember that population is growing all over. And the growth of population leads to degradation of not only the rural regions, but also the urban centers. It also leads to growth of towns. The Speaker, in the rural areas, we should not forget that we should increase tree population cover. That one should continue being improved because the growth of population, Mr. Speaker, has led to removal of forest cover. So we should emphasize the planting of trees, especially on this time when rains are falling. Mr. Speaker, there is improved roads all over the region, not only in our count, but in Kenya in general. That one, Mr. Speaker, has led to soil erosion. So I recommend that we should also have recommendation that we have gabions all over the roads so that we can reduce erosion, also improve transport activities. There is also the issue of the rivers. The major cause of soil erosion is rainwater. The rivers in our regions have been eroded, and also people have grown trees near the riverbanks. Mr. Speaker, we should also recommend that the eucalyptus should be given a distance so that we don't actually dry our rivers. Mr. Speaker, the stakeholders who were included in the recommendations, as it was read, because I cannot remember each one, because I don't have the paper. It is good that we involve all the stakeholders in making sure our climate is improved. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, this is a very good bill. We should actually build on it so that we can improve the region. Mr. Speaker, those are my observations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Moffat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to join my colleagues in congratulating the Environment Committee, which sat for long hours to bring to go through such a wonderful bill. Honorable Speaker, I bound the area of Nairobi, that is my ward borders Nairobi, on the side of Njoska. It also borders areas of Thika. Honorable Speaker, rivers from third side of in those counties let raw sewage flow into the Athi River. Honorable Speaker, the vegetables which our people eat from those areas are contaminated because of the pollution of Athi River. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, once this bill is enacted into a law, it will help our people eat good vegetables, because with that law and the regulations, the companies which are letting raw sewage into Athi River will be dealt with using that law. Even as Honorable Ndawa has said, raw sewage is being let by landlords from their plots to bring problem and confusion because of the smell to the people in the areas of urban areas like Tala, like Akundo, even our homes which are near the town centers. Sometimes we cannot sleep well because of the smell of the sewage which has been let to flow along the roads, and therefore this will bring sanity into our county. I only wish the executive, once this is enacted, could use their powers to make sure that this menace is stopped once and for all. Thank you, Speaker, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Joanna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to start by applauding the committee for this very crucial bill. Mr. Speaker, I have a major concern because during the public participation, and also as indicated, there was a proposal from one of the stakeholders that, based on the current scope of the bill, that either we review, I'm addressing myself to page 6, where the current scope of the bill in relation to environment management is limited, and the bill has only covered waste management and pollution. And therefore, there was a proposal that the bill be either the title is amended or we expand the scope so that it covers the other elements of environment. Mr. Speaker, I am not very sure. I stand to be corrected because after going through the contents presented to us, and particularly the committee's recommendations, I can see the proposals, or rather the recommendations for amendments, that we insert this and that, but I'm not sure I have seen where that proposal was factored, because we were in agreement that either we expand the scope or maybe we change the title of the bill, so that we can be sure now, if it does not cover the other elements of environmental issues, either we can have another bill, or maybe we see where on how to expand on the bill in the House, so that it caters for what could have been missing. Mr. Speaker, a few days ago we heard in the media where residents in one part of Machakos County were very much concerned on their empowerment, especially where we talk of tree cover, where we expect our local youth and women groups to be empowered, where we intend to plant trees and maybe engage them in other environmental improvement, maybe practices. And this bill would maybe have taken care of such lapses. So my concern is, as the bill stands, have we agreed to go by this title of this bill, or have we agreed to expand the scope I am not very sure, Mr. Speaker. I stand to be guided. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Joanna. I'm guided that the issue of rose can be handled in the committee of the whole house. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, honorable members, for the debate and for your input. You have heard the concerns of the bill, which, if approved, it will control our environment and more especially pollution. I want to thank you. I also to thank, in absentia, the members of the public who had put their recommendations in the public participation which we had in all the 40 wards. And then I want to say thank you, Mr. Speaker, for directing that concern of Honorable Joanna, which is also very important, and whereby you have directed where we can now address that issue. So, honorable members, thank you very much. I think this is a very important bill. If approved, it will really, really control environment, more especially at the river, where Honorable Katumo had raised a concern. At the river, let's say Machakos sub-count in total. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. At this moment, I'll put the question. As many as of that opinion say yes. Yes. As many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. At this juncture, members, the House stands. I put the question that the Machakos County Environment Management Bill 2020, Machakos County Bills number 9, be read the second time. Honorable Clerk.
The Machakos County Environment Management Bill 2020.
Now, at this juncture, the House stands adjourned to Wednesday, 1st December at 2:30 p.m.